Welcome to episode 1
Yes.
of our new show. She is Lais, and I am the coach, and that is the name of our show.
First of all, if there's ever been a time for personal bubble, this is.
We will always stay true to what we do. What you're doing is going to get you to the next place.
Right.
Throw the list away. It's only a matter of time before you cave.
You can look way better than you used to.
Such a great experience.
Well, like it knows everything you've given.
Shown periodically. What if it actually works?
I've been chopped down como persona.
100%.
An extra
You're sitting right now. Sometimes it is a member.
Welcome, everybody. Peace out, everybody.
On this episode of The Twilight Zone.
Oh my god.
No?
Yes.
Black Mirror is a show on Netflix that... No?
No.
Okay. Previously on Lais and the Coach.
No.
No, okay. Guys, we are back.
We're back, bitches!
Welcome, everybody, to Lais and the Coach, part 2, where literally 51 weeks ago, or no, we did the show a year ago.
Yeah.
Literally a year ago, we said, while we sat here, that this would be the last episode that we were going to do here.
In the jungle.
Or here in general. Mm-hmm. As you recall in the last episode, if you watched it, and if you haven't, go watch it, there were more things behind us, and we were sitting a little bit taller. But we are back in more ways than one. So not only are we back in the jungle, but we are back here. And if you've been a part of this 50-week adventure with us, you know that we've been everywhere.
Tell them how many. 35.
35
Airbnbs.
35 Airbnbs, one home.
At least 15 hotels.
At least 15 hotels and one home.
And one short-term home.
To end up right back where we were. So on today's episode, we will talk about things coming full circle. We will talk about pivoting. Man. We will talk about adventures. Yes. And we will talk about this new era of Lais and the Coach, which I am calling the unfiltered era.
Ooh, fuck yeah.
We are not holding back anymore.
Hell no.
We have held back for far too long.
That's not aligned.
About too many things.
Yes.
And we kind of hesitated on recording even this episode, which kind of lines up with why we don't want to hold back anymore. Mm-hmm. So, guys, get ready for an adventure, because this season of Lais and the Coach is going to be the beginning of something, I think how she would say, magical.
Yeah, I do like to say that. Oh my God, I have terrible allergies.
All right, guys, so let's start at the beginning. If you haven't watched the show, I can link it in the show notes. A year ago, we said that we were leaving the jungle, that we were moving out of this neighborhood and moving out of this house, and that we would be going on an adventure. And here's the thing that I think is important to say. A lot of times people say a lot of things that they're gonna do and don't do them.
Yes.
We did it.
We did it.
We packed up all our stuff. Be careful with how much you...
Oh, I can't curse?
No, you can curse, but just be careful with it, because we'll get demonetized.
Oh, God.
I'm kidding.
Oh, I'm like, that's off-brand for me. I gotta curse.
Fuck those motherfuckers. No. So we said we were going to do it, and we did it.
We did it. We packed up everything.
Which 100% gives us not only the authority to make the decision that we make, but the expertise and confidence to say, we're going to bring it all the way back to the beginning, because we did the thing. Yeah. We didn't speculate about the thing. We didn't think about the thing. We didn't talk about it. We didn't think about it and plan it to death and analyze what the best luggage would be to pack our clothes and how we should fold our socks.
And make a 5-year plan. I can't.
We did it.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
And you know, we've heard, not to cut you off, but we heard something a while inside of our adventure, because it was very much, and we'll get into how much of an eat, pray, love situation that was on a podcast. We heard the best way to know if you want something, whether it's a person, a job, a move, a whatever, is to go all in, right? And that sounds ridiculous, because you're like, well, if I don't know, why would I go all in? It's like, that's exactly why you would go all in. The best way to find out, to figure out, is to go all in, head on, and do it to the full potential and your full capability, and then be like, that's not really what I wanted, or thank God I did this because this was epic, right? So we went all in. We packed up this whole house. We put everything in storage. We got a P.O. box again. If you guys have followed our journey, you know that. We went in on the adventure.
We've done episodes of our show on the road at different Airbnbs. We have certainly shared tons of it on social media. So if you want to see what some of that looked like, there are tons of videos on both her page and my page with, again, like I said, podcast episodes, clips, tips, videos.
Yeah.
We did cooking videos.
Yeah.
We did 75 hard in the middle of the holidays.
We did.
And we did so many things along the way. And I think that that's where the confidence of deciding to come back here came from. Because it wasn't that it was a mistake to leave. That's not where we ended up back here. Right? But it was, this is exactly where we want to be. And now after testing 35 places, 36 places, plus hotels and living on the road, it's like we can say, no, this is exactly what we want.
Right now.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Right now, this is what we want to do. Just like a year ago, back then, that's what we wanted to do.
Yes.
And I don't know if you remember, we did an episode at our gym about living a full life. We said, we wanted to kind of like use our platform to give people permission to live a full life. Live a big life.
Live a big life.
And that's
maybe we can insert a clip there.
Live a big life, guys.
Yes,
I like that.
Live a big life.
Yes. That's kind of what that means.
Yeah.
Right? Like allowing yourself to do the things that you want to do and take a chance, take a risk. Whether it's a mistake or not is irrelevant. That's not why you take the chance or you take the risk. You take the chance or the risk because you want to see what it would be like, right? If we get one go around, depending on what you believe, because even in that episode, I talked about time travel. I am not going to start talking about multiple lives and different dimensions here. It's not that episode. But if you want, we can.
But you can.
But if you are getting one go around to live life in this body, right? In this, what did we hear the other day? Meat sack?
Meat suit.
Meat suit. If you're living this body, this time, in this meat suit, then why not get a feel for all of it, right? Like, why not live life as much as it can be lived instead of settling for, honestly, one of the things that we've been talking about a lot is instead of settling for all of the rules that have been dictated down by people that are no longer here.
Oh my God, can you please use that quote?
Yet have control over every decision that you make. Which quote?
Tradition.
Go ahead.
Tradition is peer pressure from dead people. And that is the best thing I've ever fucking heard in my life. All of these traditions, all of these must-haves, the way that the education system works, the way that we do everything, the way that we do our day, the way that we do our life, the way that we do our meals, the way that we do our marriage, the way we raise our kids, it's fucking robotic and it's ridiculous.
I told you, unfiltered.
And it's all passed down. It's literally like...
Let me give you guys an example of what we mean, and I'll kind of like tie back to where we're going with this. In other episodes, we've often talked about how we do Thanksgiving different. Years ago, and I'll tell you the story, if it's the first time that you're listening or the first time that you're watching, and you don't want to search for that episode, because honestly, I don't remember which one it was. But years ago, for Thanksgiving, we were having a conversation, and I said I didn't want turkey for Thanksgiving. And I reasoned it out by saying, if this is the day where we are going to get together to be grateful and thankful over a meal, why are we celebrating over a meal that I would never, ever have? I would never go out to a restaurant and order turkey. Why am I having turkey on this?
Right, like if it was your birthday,
the most grateful day.
You're not like, let me have some turkey and some soggy bread.
Like, couldn't I be just as grateful over steak?
Who eats stuffing? That's so gross. And raisins and sweet potato
Plenty
and marshmallow.
Of people eat, but it's on them.
But what I'm saying is, no one eats that at any other time.
Correct.
So then you can't fucking like it that bad.
Right. So
There's no way.
So we decided not to do that anymore. And we had steak.
You could be just as grateful as steak.
Just as grateful as steak.
How did that even start, by the way?
We did steak and mac and cheese, and we did some of the traditional trimmings because we like them.
Like, I like mac and cheese. And
right.
But I'm saying, like, how did turkey begin? Meaning, like, was it at a time where the pilgrims... I don't know the freaking story. Like, I'm from here, but I'm not from here. Either way, I wouldn't know it. But it's like...
Careful, don't say that ICE is looking.
Is it... my God. Is it because there were turkeys everywhere and they were just like, oh, this is what we're going to eat?
Yes.
Like, we're not living in that anymore.
Correct.
So why are we doing this still? But no one questions anything, and that's why we hate it.
That's the reason why we're still doing it, because no one questions anything, and I question everything.
We were talking about that today on our walk. We were talking about juniors homeschooling and unschooling and education and all of that, and it's like, it's so weird to me, and I'm going on a tangent, but we're going to bring it back. It's so weird to me how everyone's still being taught the same things the same way. Yet when we were kids, they would say, well, you got to learn this because you're not going to have a calculator with you everywhere. It's like, newsflash, I have a fucking calculator in my pocket. And you are still teaching the same bullshit math at all times that no one is ever going to use or need to know how to do. So my point is, like, why do we just continue to do things without thinking about it, dissecting it, questioning it, seeing if it serves us? And that's how most people live their life. And I almost like feel like I want to shake people.
And that's exactly why we did what we did. And I think I even said in one of the episodes, we're doing it for you, right? And I said that because there is no model, right? And it's not that I wanted to take our life and turn it into a model of all possibilities, but it was like, no, I wanted to show and document that when you make a decision, even if it has risks and even if it has tons of unknowns, because the truth is that we didn't know what was going to happen, you can still take a chance and take a risk, right? And that will give you the opportunity to look back and say, wow, we have not 35 stories from 35 Airbnbs. We have
millions,
hundreds of stories about all of the different things that we did, every adventure, meals, conversations,
podcasts we listened
so
to,
many things
books
that we did read that we wouldn't have done. No way we wouldn't have done being here. Why? Because being where you're at creates this routine of monotony and comfort and staleness
and predictability. Every day is like this.
That you are in charge of, but you don't break, which is where I was going. Sure, we could have watched the same podcast, made the same meals, had the same conversations here. But the reason that we don't or didn't, and the reason that you don't and you won't, is because you don't interrupt the pattern of the same things every single day. I've posted it, I've talked about it. We have something like 80,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of those are the same
every day.
The same thoughts every day. So if you're having the same thoughts, you're taking the same actions. If you're taking the same actions, you're getting the same outcomes. And then you wonder why things are not going the way that you want. That's why.
Yeah, and if you think about when you're on vacation, for example, like everyone thrives on vacation. They have cute outfits that they're going to wear. They're in a good mood. All of a sudden they're having, fun and all these things. And it's like, why? Because you're out of your routine. You're out of your environment. You're out of your everyday pace, right? And while most people are not going to live every day on vacation, and while most people aren't going to do exactly what we did, what is your version of that? Because not everyone can or even wants to pack up their house, be with their kids on the road, move every week to a different Airbnb. Like, everyone's got a different trajectory. That's not what we're saying. We're not saying do what we did or we got it all figured out. What we're saying is, like, live your life. Like, do things. Pay attention to how your day is going. Pay attention to how things feel to you. Question things more. Be more involved in your life. Or at the very
least, like, we are transformation coaches, right? That's what we are. That's what we're labeled as.
Yes.
So if we're going to talk about transformation, most of the time people think about, well, how much weight am I going to lose, right? But that's not a transformation. Transformation is so many different things. Changing your hair color, changing the kind of makeup that you use, changing the kind of outfits that you wear.
Yep.
Sure, changing your physique or losing weight. Those are all versions of transformations. Yep. But in order to transform, you are going to have to change.
Yeah.
And in order to change, you're going to have to question why you do the things the way you do and change those. Mm-hmm. And I think that sometimes people think that they want to change, but they're not ready for it.
Right.
So,
or they like the idea of it, but they're not really willing to do the stuff.
So what we decided to do back then was something transformative for us. We felt stale in our day-to-day routine. We wanted to try more things out. And the best way to do it was to rip the Band-Aid off. And we did it in the middle of a bunch of things at once, right? It wasn't a simple, we didn't talk about it for 6 months. We literally talked about it for all of 5 or 10 minutes.
Yep.
And immediately took action. We were talking about this at dinner, post karate tournament. by the time
On a Saturday,
by the time the appetizer came, we had said, okay, we're going to do it. By the time I paid the bill, we already knew where our storage was, what P.O. box we were going to get. And then we went to a comedy show that night, and the next day got a P.O. box and a storage and started packing.
Yeah. And by the following week, it took us an entire week, and by the following week, we were gone.
But that is action. We made a decision, and we took action, right? The universe loves speed. And we got an outcome, which is we did the thing, and then we left. We went on the road. We went to Connecticut. We went everywhere between here and Connecticut, driving. Again, we've shared all of it. You've seen us do it.
Yes.
Right? But why did we come back here? Why did we end up right back where we started? Not
for a second because we have any regrets, or at least I'll speak for myself.
Zero regrets.
Zero. There are
Have you guys seen that meme? It's
the tattoo.
Yes.
I believe there are no mistakes. There's just lessons, and there are no coincidences. There's just opportunities. So we have done the thing, and when we were done Airbnb-ing, they were like, all right, we're done with this adventure. We're ready to get a house again. We know we want to get back in Central Florida. That is where we want to stay for now. It is the best place for our kids. It is the best place for our family.
Make sure that you listen to that, because she's said it a few times. For now.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times, sorry to cut you off, but I think a lot of times the reason that a lot of people get paralyzed in their mind, not paralyzed physically like I've been, but you get paralyzed in your mind because you are making a lifelong decision based on information that you have now. The version of you that's making the decision right now isn't going to be the same version of you 5 years from now, 10 years from now. It's impossible. So why are you making a 30-year decision based on information that you only have today? Why? Because that's the way it's always been done? You don't have to do it that way.
Right. How many kids will say, I want to be a singer, I want to be a doctor, and how many times have they changed their mind throughout the course of their life? But we think that, well, they're children. They have to grow up. They have to change. It's like, so do you. Just because you're 25 or 30 does not mean that you should stay the same until you're 60. That's sad, right? You need to continue to evolve and grow also. We all do. That's literally the point of our human existence, is to continue to grow and evolve in whatever path and journey we choose to take. And so what happens is we think, well, okay, I'm 30, I'm 35, I'm 40, whatever it is. I got a job, I got a family, let me buy this house. Oh, great. Everyone should have a plan. We all want security. We all want, to feel stable, and we're not loose cannons. We have children, we have businesses, we have responsibilities, but we also really, truly, deeply believe in living our life to the fullest. This one go around thing, it always sounds morbid when I say it, but I just cannot fathom, I don't have enough time, to do it all, I can't fathom wasting my life away. And I really wish I had done that. And I haven't done it all. And I have a million things I want to do, but it's you have to do it, and you have to do it day in and day out and actually live your life. And so for now, this is the place that we really feel aligned with and feel like it's best for our family. In a few years, Bree's going to be older, Junior's going to be older, we're going to be older, but beyond that, we are going to have wiser, hotter, stronger, more Botox, or some Botox. And we are going to reassess that, and we're going to continue to reassess that, because we reassess everything at all times. We are constantly revamping and rebranding ourselves and our life, because that's just how we like to function.
But just to keep the story going and how we ended up back here specifically, as we decided to end our on-the-road adventure, right? And we said, okay, well, instead of moving every week, we should probably have a home base, because I'm sure that all of you have moved at some point or another, and you may or may not know, but moving is the second most stressful thing that people do, second to a death, right? So imagine moving every single week, packing up your stuff every single week and moving, unpacking your stuff every single week.
And sure, it's not furniture, but it's all your stuff.
Right. Well, and where I was going with it is think about the amount of space that it occupies in your brain, trying to figure out where you're going next, what you're going to do, and here are the things. So that was one of the things that we said. It's all right, we have other things that we want to do, and we don't want to dedicate any more time and space and effort to packing up our stuff and moving just for the sake of living somewhere new every single week.
And figuring out where we're going.
So
and
it's all right, let's stop.
We're done. Okay.
Great. Cool. So then what happens is, because this is where we lived last, this is what we are basing everything on, right?
This meaning this house specifically.
House, this space, this earth, this dimension.
No, but this house is what you're talking about.
Oh, we're not going there. Okay. This house specifically. because this is where we lived last,
for 3 years.
For 3 years, this is what we started to compare
Everything.
where we were going to go to next, because this house gave us the kind of space that we felt comfortable with, gave the kids the kind of space that they felt comfortable with, gave us the neighborhood that we felt comfortable in, the safety that we felt comfortable in, all the things that we were looking for while we were here. So then everything got compared to this, which is normal, right? You compare something to your last job, your last workout, your last meal, your last relationship. And so as we looked, we really couldn't find something that was fitting, I guess, what we wanted, right? Because we found plenty of things.
This became the standard, right?
But then this became the standard. So then what happens? It's like, well, is this available? Is this an option? Right? And then you got to ask that question. And we did. And here we are.
It was waiting for us. I'm so excited because truly, you guys, like we tried, and the other house we were at was beautiful, but there were some hiccups. And overall, like he said, every place we looked just couldn't, like, but this and this and this. And it's like, to be able to come back here and like just kind of pick up right where we left off, but not.
Exactly.
Has been really cool.
It's been amazing.
Surreal.
It's
like we never left, but we did.
Right. It's been amazing to have a second go around.
Yeah.
No. Again, what if you could go back to high school knowing everything you know now as an adult? What would you do different, right? I think that the hiccup with questions like that is like, if you did all those things different, you wouldn't be where you are now.
100%.
Right? So the reason that this works for us is because we've been here, we did a bunch of things, and now we're like, all right, now we get a second go around to do it with everything that we've learned, and we have an opportunity to as great as we did it, to do it even better this go around, because we're coming with all of that insight, all of that action that we took, all of that knowing, all of that letting go, because we needed to let go to leave, right? That's one of the other things that makes people stagnant. The inability to let go. You have to be able to let go if you want to move forward. Let go of your thoughts, let go of your ideas, let go of your beliefs, let go of past things. Letting go is the thing that's going to move you forward, because it will allow the new thing to come in, right? So letting go of this house allowed us to go on that adventure. Letting go of the adventure allowed us to revisit coming back here, and here we are. So one of the things that came out...
really quick, what a ride that was, huh?
Incredible.
Like, truly amazing.
And the reason that I'm not talking about it more, honestly, is because we shared so much of it.
Yeah, and we did an episode on it, but the amount of family time and talks and, like we said...
Amazing.
Like,
it was amazing.
Eat, pray, love, family bonding. It was like a magical year. Yes, it's stressful to move every week, some weeks, but it's like, overall, like, how cool, and how I'm super grateful that we got to come back here and do this again.
And the reason that I have said that this is going to be our unfiltered era is because one of the things that came out of this experience is how much we do hold back sometimes in a lot of different areas, right? Especially with the platform that we have, the people that we coach, the things that we say. I don't mean we're going to say things that are controversial. That isn't the intent. But more like the holding back of ideas, the holding back of concepts, the holding back of some of the thoughts that we have, or how we feel about certain things. So we really want to make sure that we are utilizing our podcasts, our YouTube channel, all our social media channels to kind of like share the insights that we have, right? Like, how did we get to the conclusions that we get to? What kind of questions are we asking? Listen, if one person gets something out of it, that's freaking amazing.
Right, if it makes somebody think differently about something in their life.
Exactly. It's really the reason why we started to communicate like this, because when we started interviewing people on the show, the people that we had helped transform, it was so that they had a moment to share the way they felt, the way they did it, and so that people that they knew could hear it directly from them. Because how many times have you seen any kind of transformation picture on the internet and it looked fake, right? Yeah. We've been accused of lying in our own transformations.
It's ridiculous,
right? Like there was a big clusterfuck a year and a half ago about how our transformations were fake. It's like that's one of the reasons that we talk to the people that we help, so that they could tell their own story. We don't have to fake anything, right? But moving forward, we do want to share more of the insights that we have or the things that we talk about. Just last night, we were talking to Bree, and she was like, you should have put it on your mic. And,
I know, we're talking to her for 3 hours. She's like, I'm going to mic you up next time. You guys have so many good things to say.
And honestly, for the amount of information that we consume, whether it be through books, podcasts, I read 4 books during 75 Hard that were great. All the information, there are still things that are unique to us, right? The same way we have recipes of food that we make that are unique to us that we share. It's like there's concepts and ideas that are unique to us that we want to share. Why do we parent the way we parent? Why do we cohabitate the way we cohabitate?
Yes.
Why do we go out to dinners? Why do we diet the way that we diet? Like, there are so many things, and it doesn't mean that you have to do it, but hopefully it breathes a little bit of perspective and insight to the possibilities that are out there if you just start asking yourself the right questions and not conform to the rules that they've been giving us on how things are supposed to be.
Yeah, I feel like it's just more conversation in general, right? Like, podcasts are a huge thing. Everyone's always listening to a podcast, and that's great, but it's like, how often is Joe Rogan going to be like the voice of reason for somebody, right? It's like, obviously he's got a massive platform, but what I'm saying is there are people in our ecosystem that I'd love to converse with more.
For sure.
Because there's 2 things that I think are wrong with the world that we're in right now. One, everybody's so easily offended, which is why we want to do Unfiltered.
Correct.
Not trying to offend anybody, but it's so easy to do these days that everyone starts to like, let me not say this and let me not do that.
I'll give you an example. The other day I wrote a post, it's still on my Instagram wall, that before you say something metaphysical or spiritual, you have to always preface it by saying, this is going to be a little woo-woo, right?
Or I don't want to sound too woo-woo.
Right? It's like, who are you softening that blow for?
Right.
Who's on the other side saying, that's too woo-woo for me, right? It's like, so what?
Yeah.
Don't listen.
Listen
Change
to
the
somebody
freaking
else.
channel, right?
Or
That's been the biggest problem, that most people want everybody to do what they want them to do. Change the channel. You want to change your outcomes or results, change what you're doing. You don't like what you're listening to, change the channel. Don't make people sound the way you want them to sound. You move.
When did removing yourself from something you don't like become not a thing? Why do people have to adjust? That's freaking ass backwards, right? We were talking about something else the other day with someone's like, podcast for men, and they're saying men this and men that, and then women in the comments like, women too, like, yeah, but they're not fucking talking to women, they're talking to men. Like, why do you have to also be included? No one's saying anything bad about women, they're just talking to men. If I was saying, ladies, here's what I think about this, and men were like, what about men? I'm not fucking talking to you, I'm talking to these women, right? So it's like, everyone is so easily offended, and then what happens is people are always so cautious with what they say and how they say it and how they act that nobody is themselves anymore, because God forbid somebody gets their fucking panties in a bunch, right? I don't really give a fuck, and neither do you. But I don't want to offend anybody. That is never my intention.
But we do want to open up the possibility of having more conversations.
And I want to be able to say things without feeling like I'm going to offend somebody, because that is not the way that I authentically function to begin with. And everybody in this house knows that.
Tell them God knows your heart.
God knows my heart. That's what I always say. I'm intense. The other thing is, I feel like I said 2 things wrong with the world. The other thing is how lonely everybody is. There are fewer connections, fewer groups, community, conversations, coffee shops, coffee meetups. Like, there's fewer in-person things happening. This digital world is fucking amazing. Like, we love that we get to do what we do online, right? But there's nothing better than a photo shoot weekend or an immersion weekend or a show weekend where we get to, like, be in the energy of those people. And I feel like that's one of the great things about podcasts, right? Especially podcasts with people in your community. It's like, it's almost like you can have the conversation and you could feel like you're with them or hanging out with them or hearing their thoughts and connecting with their energy without actually being with them. It's the closest thing.
I wrote earlier in a post in our private Facebook group that a lot of times people are focused on the transformation that they're looking for, right? Like they're like the transformations from A to Z, and they're focused on the Z part. It's like, well, what about A to B, right? It's like, I have it on my shirt, right? And the reason that I say that is because I agree with her. In-person things, immersions, photo shoot weekends, all the things that we do as a community of the people that we coach, those are great. But you know where it starts? Like, engage.
Right.
If you hear something, right? Like, you're never going to come to a photo shoot weekend or come out for an immersion and stay with us for 48 hours.
Or come to a dinner with us.
If it's a struggle to even say, I like that.
Or,
Right?
shit, that made me think about this in my life.
Right?
And
It's like, that's where it starts. And if you're not even engaging with the things that you are consuming, not even with us, with anybody, right? If you think about it, and I show her a lot of times, I'll watch a podcast that has 100,000, 200, 500,000 views and 400 comments. 500,000 people were watching that, but only 400 people said something. Something is off there. And it's because you're not a participant in the experiences that you're having, right? You either don't think that it matters, or you're too shy, or it's going to be very difficult for you to take this big giant leap if you're not even taking the small ones.
And that shit would never happen in person. Imagine you're sitting at a table with 10 people and you just didn't talk to anybody. That would be so weird. Like, online is the only place where people feel like, well, I could just be quiet because I'm on the other side of the
Only
street.
the haters have shit to say.
I know. It's
Only them. They always have something negative to comment, but the people that do enjoy it rarely ever say anything. And that's part of the conversation process that I would like to advise you, that if you want more connection and you want to take advantage of all the possibilities in this digital world that we live in, participate more. Yes. Again, not just with us, with anybody.
Yes.
Whether it's on a post or another episode of something that you're watching, engage more, right? Let the person that you are watching or listening to know that you are there. It's going to be good for you to get it out, because a lot of times it's bottled in. You never know what kind of response you're going to get. Ask questions. Give feedback. You hate it. It's like, great. Say, I hate it because of this. Don't say stupid things like, the other day we were doing a live for an announcement of a photo shoot that we're going to do. And somebody said it was a live feed. They're like, why are you talking like somebody's watching you? It's like, because people are, right?
They were. I'm like, you're watching.
Right. It's like, don't be stupid. You know, there's no need for that.
Don't be that. It's either like people are too bored or they're so busy that they're like too far removed. But one of the things that we are going to do now that we have this we're back in our situation, right, is we are creating a really cool podcast studio here.
Yes.
I
shared a little bit of it yesterday.
Yeah, not only for ourselves, but for all the different guests that we want to have. We want to have so many different conversations and pick so many different brains, because again, even if someone's way of thinking, someone's trajectory, someone's personality doesn't really jive with you, it isn't the specific path, there's always something you can take and apply to one of your situations or
Absolutely.
one of your thought processes and be like, I wouldn't go on 35 Airbnbs, but man, I really haven't thought about what I do want to do with my life. What is it that I do want to do in the next 6 to 12 months, right? Even if it just sparks that, it isn't, oh, I'm going to go do what they're doing. Like, it isn't that, but it sparks any idea.
But honestly, even just the possibility of like, what are you leaving on the table because you're just not having the kind of conversation that awakens the thought process, right? Like, sometimes a conversation, it doesn't mean that you have to do what we did or we have to do what you did, but a lot of times a conversation will spark an idea, and then that idea is the beginning of something amazing, right? Yeah. It's like, sometimes it's just that.
And again, not to sound morbid, but we're all ending up in a coffin, except for me, because I want to be cremated. But
okay.
Nobody gets to the end and says, oh, you know, like, I wish I had...
I'm so happy I didn't participate in life.
I'm so happy that I just went and worked this job 9 to 5 my whole life and did nothing. Like, go do stuff. Work your job and then go do stuff on your spare time, you know? No one is going to be content not going for all the adventures when they run out of time, because we all will.
And for those of you that are content doing that kind of thing, great, good for you. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
We like you too.
Anyway, guys, we are excited to be back.
Yes.
We know that we have not been as consistent with the show as we would like to be, but obviously we have had like 50 weeks of craziness. But we are excited about all the things that we want to do with the show, yes. All the things that we do want to discuss, and all the things that we do want to bring to the people that do watch and listen.
Yes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. And if you find any of this insightful or useful, share it with a friend. Or if you just want to support the show, share it with a friend. Yes. That's how all podcasts grow. They grow because people that are listening share it with somebody else. And I think that that's kind of what we want to do with this next version of our show, this next chapter, this next season, the Unfiltered era. It's like we want to grow it more so that we can kind of have conversations with the people that have never had an opportunity to see any of the things that we do. We have more than 100 episodes that you could go back to and listen to and watch. But moving forward, we do want to do things a little bit different, and we want to kind of like wake things up a little bit.
I'm excited.
Me too. So, guys, we're back.
We're back, bitches.
And for now, peace out, everybody.
Bye, guys.